I'm going to tell you about the time my son, who's an adult with a learning disability, was the subject of discriminatory attitudes on the behalf of a young doctor. He'd had an injury. He was injured. He was attacked by two young men in a robbery, and as a consequence, he had a fractured zygoma, and he was quite shocked as well, and so his own communication was affected, and it made it quite difficult for him to explain what had happened, to explain about his own pain, and so on. So he was sent home from accident and emergency without any follow-up, but just told that he had a break in a bone in his face. Well, I managed to get an appointment for him to see the surgeon in the maxillofacial department a few days later. And the young doctor looked at the x-ray, and then he turned around and said, "We won't do anything. It would only be cosmetic." Now, I'm a doctor. I heard that, and it rang alarm bells for me. My husband, who isn't a doctor, sat there and said, "Oh, thank you very much, doctor." So I said, "Well, I wonder if you could show me the x-ray. I'm only a psychiatrist, and I'm not very good at reading x-rays anymore, but could you just show me where the fracture is?" And he showed me, but it also meant that he immediately thought, "Another doctor, I better do something differently." So he called his boss, and the consultant came down, walked in, looked at the x-ray, looked at my son and said, "There's a half-inch gap there between the two ends of the bone. That will leave a large hole in his cheek. This needs to be done. This is important." And shook my son's hand and told him that he would need to come into hospital, that they would be doing a little operation to make sure that his face was better, and that was fine. And it was just the example of how the senior doctor kind of understood. The younger doctor thought that my son's face didn't matter because he was already disabled, that it wouldn't matter if he also had a big hole in his cheek. Whereas clearly for him, actually, it probably would be even worse, even more important than for anybody. I can't think of, anybody for whom it was more important, actually, the cosmetic aspect of this injury. And so he duly had a plate put in his cheek, and you can't see that there's anything there. And he's very proud of the plate in his face.